You mean we're smoking dog shit, man?
Hey, welcome to an episode of Getting Around to It, a podcast where we make comedians watch movies that they should have watched a long time ago.
Like you're in school or making you do homework for culture.
Yeah. Hey, it's a cultural touchstone, a classic, a blockbuster, or just something I think you should watch.
Yeah.
We'll make you watch it, and then we'll talk about it, I guess.
And who are you?
I'm Zach Peterson. Who are you?
I'm Goodrich Gavart.
And okay, who's our guest?
Oh, that was your intro for me?
Yeah.
Dude, we're really good at intros.
Hey, guys, I'm Kevin White. I'll introduce myself.
Kevin.
It's my first time on this podcast, and I'm having a ball.
Good.
Don't lie to these people.
I
They-
just
they
don't know.
can hear when you're
Normally,
lying.
you're like, our guest today is... Let me give you guys a couple pointers, okay?
I'm waiting for his pointers.
Yeah.
One,
yeah.
tell people how cool I am. And then...
Again, we can't lie to these people. They know when
We've
you're
all-
lying.
We all know Kevin.
Hey, guys, I'm Kevin.
Like, we all know Kevin. Like, I know Kevin from Arguments and Grievances, something we do together. I follow him on Twitter, so, I mean, that's about all you need to know.
Yeah. I have his
guess I
phone
don't need
number.
much of an
I
intro.
text him from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Originally from St. Louis. What else do you do? Run the Lone Star Open mic with me?
Yeah. I ate a burrito today.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's exciting.
All right. Well, this has been fun.
And
I'll show myself out.
all right, what movie did we make you watch this time?
Oh, yeah. Sorry if I seem... I just wasn't... I thought you guys were going to talk a little bit longer. Okay, so
We made Kevin watch Up in Smoke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke. Never seen it before.
A film that I've seen probably 40 to 50 times.
Zach, when was the first time you saw Up in Smoke?
I saw Up in Smoke in high school
Mm-hmm.
when my brother Francis, who I'll probably talk a lot about on this podcast because him and I have watched movies nonstop ever since I lived.
Also, Francis is a magical man
Yeah.
who has a gift for saying the best things and maybe not being aware of how great his things he says are.
Yeah.
Francis is maybe one of the funniest people I've met who's not a comedian.
Yeah.
Definitely.
100%.
So he made me watch it, and yeah, it's the best. And yourself?
I watched it. I was in 6th grade, and my dad
Wow.
bought me a VHS tape of it from Kmart because I was a big fan of Cheech and Chong's sketch albums. Growing up, we were driving. I played travel hockey, and we were always driving every weekend.
Yeah.
So my dad dubbed Cheech and Chong albums, and we would listen to them in the car, and I loved them. So as a 6th grader, I watched Up in Smoke.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a question. Oh, I guess I'll wait till you guys talk about the movie a little bit. But I wanted to ask how the movies relate to their albums. So I'm glad.
Oh yeah,
somebody's heard them.
there's some bits that come up that were a lot of the cornerstone bits came from the albums.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Very
Like-
similar to the Jerky Boys movie. If you've ever seen
Absolutely.
it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with their albums as well, Zach?
What, Jerky Boys or Cheech and Chong?
Cheech and Chong.
Jerky Boys, yes. Cheech and Chong, not so much.
Okay,
Which is a
cool.
fucking terrible thing to say.
Yeah, that is too bad because the one is very superior to the other one.
Yeah. Well, there's so many things in this movie where you can tell that are the like the touchstones of their, what do you call it? Sketch things.
Of their oeuvre.
Yeah.
They're just wedged in there in a weird way. I
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the movie, a lot of it is a collection of that because when we get to the synopsis, not much of a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is
This might be a
it's-
good segue.
That's
to
what
do
I was
that.
I was interested to see because you and Zach have a nostalgic view of this film because we've seen it so much, whereas Kevin is seeing it as an adult who's seen a lot of films
Yeah.
and probably goes, "Wow, this is really rough filmmaking."
Yeah, there were a couple moments.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to say what the movie was, I guess, first.
Well, basically the movie is it's just two people from two different worlds. There's Cheech Marin, who is a LA cholo,
Yeah.
through and through.
Is that an offensive term, cholo? I'm not.
I don't think so. I think I might still use it.
Yeah. Okay.
And if
if it
Goodrich uses it,
is-
it's not offensive.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know if it's offensive. I was kind of asking, can I say that?
I don't know.
Sounds like
Not
fun.
now you can't.
Oh, okay.
Now that you brought it up, and you're no.
Now I'm uncomfortable. Now I'm thinking about it.
No,
I don't like thinking.
He's from the hood. The montage in the beginning is very much like Latino LA lifestyle. Aside from Cheech's outfit, which Zach and I decided no one dresses
No
like
one
that ever.
Yeah, a belly shirt with
A
suspenders.
belly tank top with suspenders.
It looks great.
No one should dress like that. I mean, he's cut and everything. He's like has a good body, but like
Yeah.
still, that is a bold outfit choice.
Yeah.
And then you have Tommy Chong's character.
You know, he's dressed like Misty from Pokemon, or vice versa.
Oh yeah.
She's wearing a yellow belly shirt and I think red suspenders.
So do you
Yeah.
think that was based off of Cheech's? I'm sure Cheech
I
was
doubt
before
it.
Pokemon.
I hope so. Yeah, of
Dude,
course.
Pokemon's just
that's why I said
Cheech and-
vice versa, but
Pokemon's just Cheech and Chong for the us
I feel
90s
like
For the
kids.
kids.
Up in Smoke
Yeah.
was like you gotta smoke them all. Was like kind of like the main point of the film.
uh-huh.
So it was like Pokemon.
And then Chong came from an affluent background
Yeah.
of some sort.
Mhm.
We don't know too much about it because
His parents are talking about the goddamn Finkelstein kid next door.
and all he did was make a fruit juice and leave.
Give him the finger. One of my favorite finger giving scenes in the film. Where he just like kind of lazily does it behind his back without giving a shit.
And we were talking during it that that was counterculture. Like this dude's
Yeah.
making juice. Fuck.
Yeah, this dude's got vitamin supplements and fresh bananas. Like, what a rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even his parents commenting on like, you asshole. It's
Yeah.
like,
Because we were thinking if there was a shitty rich kid now, he'd just be chugging Monster Energy.
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah.
wouldn't be like trying to get herb supplements.
Yeah. Well, now you think about like what they did in that first part of the movie was just try to find drugs.
Yeah.
That was just like Cheech got picked up by Chong. No, other way around. Chong got picked up by Cheech.
Yeah, with the double bubble, the classic hitchhiker move where you put two giant balloons in your chest to look like
Yeah.
you're a sexy lady with a giant beard.
Yeah, did Bugs Bunny help write this movie?
That's exactly a Bugs Bunny prank.
Throughout the entire movie, Cheech Marin is a creep.
Oh yeah, everywhere he goes, he's just like, "Hey, what's happening?" He's trying to scam on ladies at all points.
Yeah, but I mean that's his character. And,
I don't know. It's It seems very well received everywhere he goes.
Oh yeah, he wrote it.
He
so
wrote
he
the
gets,
movie.
Yeah. So every female character is like, "Hey, they like me." I wrote it.
Yeah.
And then
Then it turns into a road trip movie after that.
sort of, yeah,
basically.
because they
Yeah.
get deported.
Well, before that, even they go on trial because they're like
They get-
driving,
Cheech gets
and
too
then
high.
Cheech is like, "Hey, how's my driving?" I think we're parked. That's a classic
Yeah.
line that I delivered the opposite way it's supposed to be delivered.
Yeah.
yeah.
Are we
Uh,
driving, man? We're parked, man, or whatever.
And
yeah.
They go to court, but
It
the
is so
judge
you
is
take
drinking
more
vodka.
ecstasy. Well, good. What?
Acid, man.
Oh,
that
acid.
was back when acid was.
Yeah,
Ecstasy
it was
wasn't around
acid.
yet.
Yeah, they got out of the court case because the lady was drinking vodka or something.
Yeah,
Or
they're just
they
like,
Did you guys watch this movie recently?
Yeah.
Or are you just
2
going
days
off
ago.
memory? I'm curious.
we watched it Saturday.
Oh, did you? Okay, I was
Yeah.
curious if. Okay.
so it sparked all the plot points in my head of
Yeah,
being like,
yeah.
how did they put this together?
Yeah,
You know, as somebody who's like written things, and it was like, wow, so many things just get glossed over. It's great.
That first part of the movie, if you're just an editor saying, "What do we need to tell the story?"
Yeah.
You don't need that.
Yeah, totally. None of that is really necessary. It just kind of gets thrown together.
It's just parts for their sketches to happen.
Basically.
And then they go to get drugs again, and then they
They're in a band now.
yeah, they're in a band.
Then they're in a band.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And
I was curious. Are we gonna go back through the plot, or like, are we gonna give a quick rundown of the plot and then talk about it,
Well-
or because I've got some things I could say already, but I don't know.
chime in.
How you? Okay, so
Because I think we started as like a fast synopsis, and then it's just like relaying
this is probably
the
just
movie.
what the podcast is gonna be. Is just we're gonna walk you through the movie, probably, right?
Pretty
Maybe.
much. I mean, well, at least this one, because this one's not like another movie where it's
Yeah.
like, his father dies, and
Right.
then he gets revenge or whatever.
So going back to that makes sense. This would be awfully redundant with all the weird left turns.
It
so,
doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's weird. It's okay. So at the very beginning, I'm like, okay, Cheech's character very apparent. And by the way, I mean I know who Cheech and Chong are to some extent. I was never interested in the movies because I'm not really. I never smoked a lot of pot.
Interestingly
I
enough,
never-
seeing the movie at 12 years old, I didn't smoke weed until I was like 22.
yeah, a drug humor just didn't really interest me usually.
Yeah.
so I didn't. I was like, oh, that's probably dumb. It was way more enjoyable than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I think there is.
Honestly.
It's not. They don't rely too much. Like they're both idiots.
Yeah,
Their
it's
characters.
the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, exactly. So
stone
it's
leading the
more of
stone.
that than it is like reliance on drugs.
Yeah.
like, they're boboth very stupid.
Yeah.
which is what really the comedy comes from. And I
Yeah,
think what I
exactly.
liked.
And so I was happy to see that. I was worried it was just going to be a movie full of bad 70s psychedelic trip scenes.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that.
Nope,
but
it's accidentally peeing on a guy.
yeah, I appreciated that. They make the cops as dumb and unlikable as possible.
We
and
love
stuff,
that.
and
That's the classic
great.
drug movie trope. Is like every
Yeah.
cop is super inept and
Yeah.
stupid.
I love. Whoa, man! Right away, my first favorite joke of the movie was so Tommy Chong. Oh, by the way, they don't play themselves in the movie, which was
No, it's
interesting.
well, it's actually based off of the sketch albums.
Yeah.
The Further Adventures of Pedro de Pacas and the Man.
The Man. Yeah.
That's
Man.
why they
Yeah.
never named Tommy Chong's character.
Yeah.
Even towards the end when he's
What's
having
your name? Yeah.
when she's like, fuck me, Alex, fuck me, Alex.
Yeah.
He comes in and is like, I didn't know your name was Alex,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not his name in the story either. So that's what. And then his name is Pedro de Pacas.
And the Man is very against the Man.
Oh yeah,
Which
he's
is
got
ironic.
bananas.
Yeah, so he makes the thing and he flicks off his parents and he's leaving the house and it cuts to him pulling the Rolls Royce out of the driveway.
Yeah.
And as the camera pans out, you
Yeah.
see that Tommy just, for no reason at all, stole the grill of a Rolls Royce and fastened it to his VW Bug.
Yeah.
And then there's like a Japanese businessman in the driveway next to a Rolls Royce without a grill,
Yeah.
just shaking his fist and screaming,
Yeah.
doing nothing to get it back. He says, "Hey, damn you, you damn kid!" And he slowly drives away. Why did Tommy do that? What
Yeah,
is
because it just looks silly. Because it doesn't match up. Because the VW like hood
Oh yeah.
immediately goes away. It looks so stupid.
Oh, it's very funny, but I'm like, what is the character's motivation for this?
There.
Well, that's a great way to describe the plot of the movie as a whole. Just right away, you're like, oh, this is gonna be just full of non sequitur.
Just a bunch of silly times.
totally.
So that's fantastic. And then what else? Then
They go get drugs and then
Well,
they're
yeah,
in their
so-
they're in a band.
They're in a
is where we
band.
left off.
Yeah.
And then you have the stereotypical 70s jive talking character.
Curtis, baby.
Yeah, it's like all right.
Yeah.
And
Because he's trying to get them, but even Curtis like tries to get them these cool outfits, and they're really uncool. They are like waiter outfits.
Waiter
they say.
outfits.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He keeps. Yeah, everybody's represented in this movie.
all the
you know?
70s stereotypes. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's not a likable white person probably in the character except for like the bimbos that
Well,
they pick up.
Chong is referred to as a white guy.
Well, yeah, but it's weird because he's not white, is he? Like
I don't know.
He doesn't. He couldn't have looked less like those people's kid.
He's Canadian, and he's like half Asian.
yeah.
Is his actual origins. He's
Ah.
from Vancouver,
Sure.
Oh, okay.
but he's like he's half Asian.
And then okay, I keep going to the part where they get deported because I want to ask one question.
Uh-huh.
Why the fuck did Chong get deported?
Yeah, that's the question.
I don't know.
We didn't.
Yeah.
We're like, wait, why did Chong go there? And also, Cheech was probably born in America. Like, it doesn't make sense.
They actually said right before that he was like, because so there are cops raiding this house that they're at, and then they're trying to hide. Cheech looks out the window. He's like, oh, it's
La Migra.
it's INS or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. It's okay. They're not here looking for drugs. Tommy's like, oh, well, you're gonna get deported, and he's like, no, not unless you don't have a green card. Cut to them in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they're relying a lot on the audience being high as well.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
Oh,
I
totally,
mean, the
yeah.
court case, there's no resolution, and then
No,
there's
not at all. And they
It just
get
cuts
deported.
to them.
And they're
waking
not,
up.
They're in Mexico. They're just chilling. They're not freaking out. They're just like Chong's like getting a taco from a cart.
Yeah, and Mexico's clearly just Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They just filmed. They
Los
totally
Angeles.
just filmed like whatever.
Yeah, a more busy
neighborhood.
part of Los Angeles.
Yeah, whatever neighborhood had more billboards in Spanish and stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder if there were a lot of extra scenes to this movie that glued it all together and they had to trim it down. Maybe
There was one scene in the beginning where they're driving, where it cuts like in between them smoking the tiny Chong joint, where
Yeah.
he's like, "I hope your dick's bigger than this, man," to the giant one where it's just the shot is just them driving and voiceover for like
Yeah.
a lot of exposition,
Oh,
and then I
yeah.
realized, oh god, they had a bunch of stuff that probably didn't work or they forgot. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
But like
that's
all of a
good-
sudden the story is super forward. just
Yeah.
from the driving and them talking over it.
I wanted to talk to you about. Let's use that scene as that's when I first noticed. Oh, I wonder how much of this is pulled from their. Did they do live shows? The recordings. Are they,
They
live
did.
recordings?
They
Or
do.
they studio
Yeah.
They
recordings?
did. Well, they started as a live act in
Yeah.
L.A., and then Lou Adler, who was a big record producer at the time, who did the rock records, produced their albums. So they
they
did
would
them a
do-
lot. They did them all in studio, but
So
it
like
came from
Foley
live
art
shows.
and all that. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Because when they're in the car and he's like, "That's not a joint, that's a toothpick," and he's like, "No, man, oh shit, that is a toothpick," and then he
Yeah.
reaches his pockets. No, that's my dick. I could just. Oh, here it is. He pulls out the shitty little pathetic joint. I could see that crushing live. you
Yeah.
Oh,
know?
yeah.
And they've even got the timing down where it's
That's
like, no, that's my dick. Wait for the laugh.
that's the thing. You can tell that their
So
pacing with
obvious.
each other is so good.
Yeah.
And they both have their roles really well. And Cheech is, kind of the confident one, and Chong just guy goes, "Oh wait, what?"
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
Cheech
Cheech
wrote
is
the
the
movie.
leader.
Yeah, Cheech wrote the movie, and Cheech did the music. What the fuck did Chong do besides like be his character?
He's just his guy, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like most groups are like, guys from South Park are kind of the same way. Like, I think the story is like Trey Parker was always the guy, with all the ideas, always feverishly doing stuff, and Matt Stone was the one dude who's like, all right, I'm gonna help you get this
Yeah.
going. Like,
Sure.
but it wasn't like the
He's
the
the
brains.
facilitator.
Yeah, totally.
If you look at the careers of Cheech and Chong afterwards, because after all the Cheech and Chong stuff, they still do stuff. But I mean,
Chong
Cheech,
does way more. Or sorry, Cheech does
Yeah.
way more.
Went
I mean,
on to do a lot of acting.
he was in Nash Bridges, man.
Yeah,
Oh
dude.
yeah, it was.
He was born
Hell
in East
yeah.
L.A.
He did other stuff. I mean,
Chong had a head shop that he went to jail for selling bongs on the internet.
yeah,
Bullshit.
exactly. He never left that character.
No.
He never expanded outside of it. I mean, he was on that '70s show, and what he did was
Yeah.
his character.
Do your thing.
Oh, Cheech Marin was in The Lion King. That's tight.
Yeah, dude, he was.
Oh yeah. He did voiceover stuff.
Not Pumbaa, the other one.
Timon?
Timon.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
was Timon.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Timon.
Pumbaa's
Fuck
not
yeah.
here, man.
Okay, I have a question too. You mentioned he did the music. It was very jarring to hear this bad rock music being sung by Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
Did he have a band? Was that part of like the recordings, the studio recordings? Would it be like a sketch and then a funny song and then another
They only
sketch?
did they did maybe one or two songs an album.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of one of the classic songs is like Basketball Jones. They had a song, but also they had that song that their Alice Bowie song. Mama talking to me, try to tell me how to live. Earache my eye. It was from a sketch
Okay.
that they played. Like the setup for the sketch was like a kid's in his room and he's like doesn't want to go to school and he puts the record on. And
Yeah.
then his dad comes in and yells at him. But that's where that song came from originally.
Okay.
So like
That's
they,
not the punk thing. That's not the punk band one.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
their
Okay, so let's shelve that because I feel like we're gonna talk a lot about that scene.
Oh, yeah.
Taking control.
So,
Mm-hmm.
well, I was just gonna. I'm
No,
just
no,
trying
we're
to
not there yet. I get it.
I'm trying to stay on point myself. Okay, great. Thank you for answering my question.
Oh yeah, totally.
So where are we in the plot? We just got back from Mexico.
No, they're in Mexico still, and they now.
Oh, there was also the strawberry where they go to meet up with their friend
Oh,
Strawberry,
yeah.
who has the Vietnam flashbacks.
Which yeah.
Oh yeah, that was great. When I was watching that scene, I was really enjoying that they're not just because a lot of times comedy is either a sane person in a crazy world or a crazy person in a sane world. This is crazy people in a crazy world, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't see that a lot in comedy.
Well,
It's difficult to do.
That's totally true. Every character is a weird.
He's a
character.
weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the quote unquote norms, the police, they're like the Three
They're-
Stooges.
yeah.
They're
Totally
just bumping into each other.
Yeah, they're all idiots.
So I actually really just as like a fan of comedy, as a student of comedy, I really liked that about the movie.
One thing that I love that me and Zach noticed when we were watching was just the guy with the floppy hat doing the robot type of thing, which I feel like is every '70s white guy dancing in a movie.
Where was that?
That was in the party
Yeah.
scene
Oh,
when
the
they were
party
getting
scene in the
busted.
house.
There
He
was
was
just a
just in
dude
the kitchen.
dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that girl's got. Let me see. So Cheech Marin's out trying to score drugs.
Yeah, because they don't
A
like
party
strange
breaks
dudes,
out.
man.
That lady snorts all that
Ajax.
Ajax.
Yeah.
That was so great and unnecessary. And I don't know who that actress is. I don't know. I'm sure she's been in I'm sure she was like probably a staple of the scene at that time. I'm sure she was in other movies.
Yeah.
Man, Such great physical comedy from
Right.
that woman when she snorts 4 lines of Ajax in one snort and then just bucks like a horse.
The weirdest faces.
Oh my
and
Yeah.
god,
It's
She was
it was
hilarious.
it was
I
a
wanted
little
to see more of
disturbing.
her.
A little disturbing.
Oh man, it was great. And then Cheech comes back. He's like, "Oh no, there's gotta be a raid. We
Yeah,
got."
and that's a bit from one of their albums too. When he's like, "Hey, don't answer the phone, even if it's me calling." And he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Hey, Pedro." He's like, "No, it's not me, Pedro."
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, it's Pedro. Like,
That's right. So there's 3 or 4 scenes completely fueled by there's gonna be a raid.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And that's a
know?
lot of their sketches were like you're at a party and you're like, shit's going down.
Yeah.
Man. But everyone is too stupid to realize that they're gonna go to jail.
Yeah.
because they're too high.
I love that the Ajax coked up girl has Tommy Chong pinned against the corner, and she's trying to get on him, and all he's interested in is there's another girl dancing with a joint,
Yeah.
and every time he reaches for it, her dance move sways it away just out of reach.
yeah.
That's so great.
Also, it should be said that Zach, when Chong is trying to light the roach and swallows it,
Yeah.
Zach turned to me and said, "I've done that before."
All right, let me. Okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you
Go on.
exactly what happened. I was in. It was like 2:00 in the morning at Harrison Elementary School. We were on the they had this weird
what?
like,
Oh, you
bench
you were hanging out
hanging
at a
out
school.
outside of the school.
Oh, like a
because-
cool teen.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
because I
got
was
it.
in fucking high school, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a Saturday night,
That's
and
what you do.
me and my girlfriend at the time, and Francis again, were passing around. Of course, he was fucking there.
He's your he's
had
your
the roach.
Chong, man.
yeah, he is. Oh,
To your
he's
Cheech, he's your
definitely my
Chong.
fucking Chong. Well, I don't know. He actually looks a lot like Cheech.
He does look like Cheech. He's got a mustache. He's got style and swagger.
Yeah.
Like, he could be a Cheech
I
guy.
could definitely be I'm more of a Chong
I
individual.
could see him walking down the street going, "Guacamole and machos." Guacamole
Yeah, for sure.
and machos.
Well, and I was just trying to hit this roach, and then Francis fucking hits my arm, goes, "Man, hurry the fuck up!" And it goes, and it goes back in my throat, and then I coughed it up, and then he takes it and he lights it back and goes, "It's better now, man."
That seems like
It's
a Cheech
okay,
and Chong
man.
bit.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
that's
still
totally
good.
a Cheech.
Yeah. So yeah, I fucking did that.
That's great.
It was fine.
I love that. What else is funny about that scene? Oh, you know what? I also love that. So Cheech takes initiative. He's gonna go up to the house. He sees Chong inside. He's like, "No, let me in, let me in." They go. They're locked inside. He goes, "We got to get you out of here." That's fucking great comedy.
Yeah.
That's great.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
know?
Oh
well,
yeah.
because then he has him and his cousins have repo men outfits. They'll have
Oh, yeah.
matching jumpsuits that says like Hugo's repossession. He's
You
like,
know
"We're
what
here
I
to
think-
repossess the house."
I just realized, you know what maybe the joke is? Maybe the waiter outfits and the repo outfit. Maybe that guy is just buying secondhand clothes or something.
It probably
Or
is.
stolen
Because
uniforms.
Curtis it seems like a shyster. dude.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like too much of a salesman.
Shyster. Yeah, then what happens?
Oh, so they go down to Mexico when they're and they have to go to a furniture.
Yeah, because
stuff.
another one of Cheech's cousins has an upholstery place that needs a van taken across the border.
Now, something I couldn't figure out. Did they go to the wrong?
Yeah, they go to
place?
the wrong
Okay.
place. Yeah, this whole movie is a thing of like just barely something wrong happens and that changes the course of everything. Because there's is it a 7 or a 1?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's a 7. And they go in and there's one right next to it that has a 1.
That's
on
like
the
the old
address.
Charlie Chaplin
Yeah.
thing, you
Yeah.
know, you step over a banana peel into a manhole.
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
And then they get a van made of weed.
Made of weed, which I don't think is that possible technology
No.
to make weed that's you can have a moving vehicle?
No, they made plastic weed.
Yeah.
They said it was going to be in television sets, which we never see. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're in a van made of weed.
And
But
the-
that's fine. I'll suspend
And also the
disbelief.
grill is like loose.
Yeah, the
like,
girls just shake.
just flower cannabis.
I think that might be part of the joke is they show a photo of a TV, like, look at this. Can you believe this realistic looking TV is weed? And then we see the van, and it's so obviously weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even paint it. They
looks
painted a
like
weed
a
leaf on the
poly
back.
Yeah.
Just a little flare.
Hey, check out this weed.
Oh,
Yeah.
also a lot of the scenes, for starting there, that's maybe one of the first scenes in the bathroom, aside from when they start the movie and Cheech pees in the hamper
Yeah.
Oh,
to,
yeah.
to illustrate how much of a mess his life is.
Yeah.
He's a real
But
no
then
good.
he goes to the bathroom in there because he's got those Rosarita Reef rides.
Yeah.
And that's one of the many scenes in which things happen in the bathroom, which
Yeah.
the rest of the movie.
There's a lot of bathroom
There's
time.
a lot of
Literal
bathroom time.
toilet humor.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's So he goes to that bathroom. He opens up one stall. There's a man who's been bound and gagged with toilet paper.
Yeah.
Never mentioned again.
No, he's just like, oh, did you have the same food that I did? It's like,
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So I don't understand, like,
Dude, it's Tijuana, man. Anything goes.
there must have been a scene where there was like some guy breaking into the. I have no fucking clue
And
what
again,
that's
that
about.
goes to the mechanics of the movie, which we know for a fact is not good.
Yeah.
It's just simply not good. I mean, it's a funny movie. I mean, we can all agree it's a funny movie, especially for the 70s.
It is a funkin' funny.
It's a
movie.
funny movie.
Yeah.
You know, but the actual like
It's fun-
movie
yeah.
story, no.
It's fun as a series of vignettes, definitely.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, definitely.
I like Italian vignettes on my salad.
We
Vinaigrette.
might
All
have
right.
to start over
I would have
again.
to edit that.
I mean,
Yeah,
then
so
they
get in the
have to go. They
car.
get in the van. They go across the border. Of
So
course,
this
they're
is-
just getting high.
This
Yeah.
is really where the plot picks up. This is where there starts to be a cohesiveness.
Yeah.
The FBI
Sergeant Stadenko,
They
Yeah.
know played by who? Who's that actor?
Stacy Keach.
Yeah.
Keach man.
Who we noticed.
Man, he's
we were
got a
looking
great
at-
stash.
We were looking at Netflix, and he's not even top billing in the movie, despite having worked. We looked at his IMDb. He's in like a movie a year since the 70s
Oh,
to
wow.
now.
Yeah.
He's in everything.
I
Wow.
want to look what else he was in, because like, what is the one role that like
He's like an intimidating, scary figure usually.
Mhm.
American History X.
yeah,
He's
he's
the white power guy, the main.
yeah
Like,
he's
he's
the
the
Nazi
main-
from that Nazi movie.
yeah,
Born
he's the
Legacy.
Nazi. Yeah.
Yeah, Born Legacy.
American History X might be the
Machete.
most well known.
Yeah, probably.
A lot of times he tries to cover up the hair lip, but in that movie he's very.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's hard to. You know,
It plays to his like.
It
Coldness.
plays to his character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his character's named Sergeant Stadenko, which in all of the sketches, I don't know if you've heard like the Sister Mary Elephant, or where they have like it's a sketch where it's a couple recurring sketches where it's like taking place in a Catholic school,
Okay.
and it's like now we're talk about drugs and alcohol with Sergeant Stadenko, and it's like a guy giving a talk about drugs.
So that's the running gag.
That's the running
It's
gag.
always
His
the
name is
same
Sergeant
guy.
Stadenko. Yeah, he's always messes up.
That's fun.
They have a great joke that as a young kid listening to it loved, where it was like, hey, it was like, any of you guys have any questions? And the first kid raises his hand and goes, hey, who cuts your hair, man?
Little
And I
12-year-old
still think
Tommy Chong.
That's a fun question. Like, who cuts your hair, man?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I want to have to say, after looking over his IMDb page, that it's American History X is the most noticeable one.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that guy works. Oh boy.
yeah. Oh, he's been in movies consistently since 1964.
Yeah.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So this is kind of where the plot starts to really happen, because from this point on, now it turns into like a road trip cat and mouse
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they just keep
film.
they
Buddy.
keep trying to get the cops keep trying to get him, and they keep eluding them. They have no idea they're eluding the cops.
But for the first time in the movie, we have motivation to drive the plot forward, and we're only halfway through, guys.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's only taking that long for
Well,
something to happen.
they don't even figure out where they're going until after they pick up the two hitchhikers.
Yeah.
Much of the movie is the cops lost on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cop shooting out his own tire.
Yeah. For no reason.
Yeah, for
Like,
no reason. Yeah.
He's not shooting at anything. There wasn't a gun battle. He just had his gun out and he shot the fucking tire.
And then also the first of many scenes where Stacy Keach gets peed on.
Yeah.
Also, now that they've got this weed van without any upholstery in the back, as far as I could see, even though that's why they were driving it back, why do they decide to detour to join a battle of the bands? Why? So many more questions.
I guess they just had this freewheeling attitude.
Okay,
I have no idea.
It's a ragtag Motley Crue. of
Because
fun
so
having
far,
friends.
they've just not really given a shit about any repercussions. So
So they're in Mexico. They say, oh, we got to get this upholstery up to my cousin. So we're gonna take this truck, enter the wrong building, leave with the wrong truck. The cops know about said truck, so they're following them.
Yeah.
So for all they know, these are heavy hitters in the drug game, and they are definitely not. So they're always kind of accidentally not getting in trouble because the cops are dumb,
yeah.
right?
And then these two gals that they pick up
they pick up
who,
some hitchhikers
without explanation, or hitchhiking with only the clothes they have. Like, I don't know where they
no
came
bras.
from.
Hitchhiking.
Yeah.
No bras.
One of them has a lot of drugs and big teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other one's got
Just
big
Big boobs and no
Big
clothes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Small amounts of clothes.
But I have to say, the big teeth lady, she is my favorite person in the movie.
Really?
She is the funniest person in that movie.
No way.
Yeah, because I mean, I think she has more character than the other lady. Because the other lady, she's pretty much, she's
I
pretty
still
much
like
eye
the
candy.
Ajax lady though.
Yeah,
She's so funny.
but she's a female Chong.
Yeah.
Oh, she's definitely
great.
a female Chong. That's definitely.
And she's totally also the rock and roll scene insider. She's always like, well, I mean, I know how to go, man.
I like the idea. So I was watching it and I was like, well, she's obviously a female Chong, but with way more drugs. I like that Cheech Marin's writing this movie. She's like, and he's like, all right, what's my equal? Oh, this buxom blonde. And what's your
who has like no lines.
Yeah. And what's your equal? Oh,
the weirdest Janis Joplin lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just me, like, and the people I hung out with in high school, and like I know so many people like her, where it's just like, like I'm just gonna sit here and do drugs and talk about God knows what.
Yeah, whatever it is, like I have an idea about it, man.
Yeah, or like there's that one scene where like in the van before the Alex part, where it looks like they're having sex in the van, but she's just talking and like everyone's just
Everyone else
sleeping.
is passed
Yeah,
out.
Like, dude,
yeah.
I definitely have met that girl a couple
Yeah.
times.
I've
for
met
sure.
numerous individuals
Met that guy a
like
couple
that.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so they're driving,
Also, have either of you guys ever heard? I don't know if any band has ever sampled the part where Cheech is like, they're like, we can't do a battle of the bands. We only practiced twice. And Cheech is like, oh, man,
yeah.
it's just punk rock. All you
Yes.
got to do is be punk. Like,
okay.
has any band ever sampled that? Because
Yes.
they should
Yes.
have. Okay.
Yeah, and I remember there are a couple quotes from this movie that I've noticed. I've definitely heard that. I don't remember where.
I know for a fact I heard it.
It might be from the same album where I remember this other quote. They're at like the station, the
Radio Special,
the
you know who this
radio
is?
dispatch, and who is this is? There's
Who is this?
which is
Request
such a,
lines are now open.
I always thought that was so funny. That's a Voodoo Glow Skulls
Yep,
album.
that's a voodoo. The record is called "Who Is This Is."
Who Is This Is?
And
Who
it
Is This
starts
Is?
off with that.
Yeah,
That
that's
same album might have that other quote.
I don't
don't
think.
know.
I think it's a different one.
Yeah?
Like, I mean, I think. I don't know. Like, I can't place it. If
I'm sure if you Google Cheech and Chong punk rock.
Also, when did this movie come
yeah,
out?
we'll see. It is come out.
When is come
Who
out?
is this is? I'm gonna start using that. That's great.
Who is this is?
I don't
Who
know.
is this? Who is this is? Or what is he? What is the quote?
Do you know who this is? No, who this is? No, who is this is?
Yeah, that's
It's-
hilarious.
Yeah, he's
Because I'm just curious how what year compared to like punk rock existing.
Well, it was already past. Obviously, it was it being in a movie like that and stuff. It was still a sensation, but also commercialized at this point.
Yeah, he also knew that you could just like kind of dress that way and it'd be enough to go to this.
It came out in 1978.
Wow, so
That
that's
early.
like,
70s.
so they were on the pulse of that
Real
being
hip.
a phenomenon.
Man, the other bands at that whole scene is so fucking cringeworthy.
Well, that's the thing. I was thinking.
Should we just get right into it? Right into the battle
because
of
they
the
go to the
bands?
battle of the bands.
Oh, what I wanted to I'm sorry, real quick.
Go
One
for
thing I
it.
thought was real funny, and I didn't think it was funny till right now remembering it, is their whole motivation for going to this battle of the bands, because everybody's kind of at the whim of Cheech. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever you
Oh,
say.
totally, yeah.
He says, man, they're going to give us $100.
Yeah, yeah, right. A record deal and the bank gets $100. Wait, what? $100?
That's not even going to cover gas.
Yeah, no, but
There's
yeah,
9 people in
Not
your
in the
band.
70s.
yeah. Well, in the 70s,
During
$100
the
bucks
gas
was
shortage.
in the 70s. $100 was like $200
$150.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of those bands were like weird, subtle jokes at the subculture.
That's
because
what I wanted to
none of the
talk
bands, like the people matched up at all. It was like there was the one nerdy dude playing drums, and there was like the goth guy on keyboards. But
Yeah.
then like the snotty, like UK punk in the
Yeah.
same band, and the
There's a
songs
guy
were
singing.
horrible.
Yeah, are those real local bands, I wonder? Or are those supposed to be a joke?
Well, there was.
Or did they find people like, they're awful, let's kind of make fun of them
Well,
by having them
in the
movie?
credits, it says one of the bands was the Dills,
And
which
the-
were like LA, and the Whores.
The Whores and
were like
then
early
something
LA
else.
punk bands.
Yeah.
So
So
they were
they're real.
of that scene, yeah. But I think they were like playing. I don't know if it's actually their songs. I think they were just goofing around.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if, I mean...
I love the band that has the
Some
woman
shows-
that just wears shades and she like just pogos on the
Yeah,
stage.
yeah, yeah.
so funny looking.
The Whores, huh? There's
Yeah.
actually a new band called The Whores I was kind of getting into.
I know I put records away at work from the Whores. I don't know which
I think you'd
one
like
or
it,
anyone.
Zach.
Nah, I don't know.
They kind of sound like Torch.
I like that.
Okay, I like
Yeah,
that.
there you
That sounds
go.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also funny because he writes this song as they get there.
Yeah.
Because there's a scene where he's trying to
Oh,
get
yeah,
Tim to wake
he's-
up. He's like, "Hey man, I got this new tune," and then somehow the band knows it and
Yeah.
they play it.
Hey, to Cheech's credit, that's the only part of the plot that made sense. Oh, at least at least they've had an idea of how the song's supposed to go. See, we're not watching it going. Is this jazz? Did they
Yeah.
just know when to,
Mhm.
you know? That's such a not punky sounding song too. There's
Oh
there's
yeah,
horns and like it sounds like oh man, Cheech's outfit is so good though.
right.
That's what he thinks. He's got like Mickey Mouse ears.
Tutu.
He's got a tutu
He's got
Yeah.
a tutu with pasty or
with pasties on top of it.
the dangling pasties. What else?
Yeah.
Oh, and Tommy Chong can't play drums. He's like passing out. He's falling
Yeah.
all over the
Also
place.
has drumsticks that are bigger than any drumstick
They
anyone's
look
ever
like
seen.
the dog shit fucking.
Yeah,
I
they're
was
like
gonna ask, did
obscenely
he
huge.
roll those drumsticks? Was
Yeah.
that supposed to be a joke? Like he's playing and then
yeah.
he takes a hit? That would have been hilarious. No, I like that Tommy Chong is like, oh, I'm falling all over. He can't. He's not. And he's like, didn't you give him some uppers? And she's like, yeah, I gave him uppers. And then the weed starts.
It's
the
like
weed
Popeye
smoke-
with the spinach.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was gonna say
Okay.
was, oh, he just doesn't respond well to uppers.
Yeah.
Because the van that was made out of weed, well, there's a design flaw, and the exhaust system caught
Yeah.
fire
It's-
to the back,
Yep.
and it started smoking. But then somehow, the police lit it on
The
fire.
police who were dressed as Hare Krishnas trying to get into the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. and then they go, all right, I'm gonna reason with you. I'm a cop.
Yeah.
Like-
Okay, where's your badge? And they left it in their car.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we noticed something when that scene when the Hare Krishna, the cops dressed as Hare Krishnas trying to get in, when they leave, one of the doormen goes, "No wonder Nita Bryant's pissed off." And we were like, "What the fuck was that?"
What does that mean?
And we looked it up. Anita Bryant was like an old country singer who was an outspoken like anti-gay like politician.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was a weird culture. I'm still not sure how Hare Krishnas fall into
Yeah,
that.
I don't
but
get it either.
It was a weird, like,
I
that's
think-
of the time reference.
Yeah, like I assume the doorman is like those guys seemed gay of some
That's
sort.
what I was gonna
you
say.
know?
Yeah, there you-
But like it doesn't make much sense.
That's
But-
so weird.
Yeah, but that's like a little snapshot in the '70s, just like the not the Vietnamese guy, the Vietnam flashback dude.
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
people are coming back from Vietnam, and it's like, oh, this is the fucking '70s. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And actually, for a comedy movie in that time, there was like a lot less horrible things than a lot of movies in the 80s and even like other like, weird stereotypes of like gay or black or whatever
Yeah, yeah.
stereotypes. It actually is sort of pretty true to the time period and like sort of like treated everybody with the same idiocy instead of like basing off of like, cultural tropes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Which
yeah.
is surprising because you wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can even look at like the Clint Eastwood movies at that time, which were
Yeah.
and the fucking Charles Bronson movies at that time were pretty racist. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just pretty blatant. And then even Bad News Bears, there's a couple
Oh,
N
God,
bombs
yeah.
in there.
Totally.
And, like everyone's playing to the trope. And this one was just like, oh, this is people are pretty
Everyone's
human
just
in
into
this.
drugs.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Well,
it.
what helps, I think, is it being written by and for, in a way, like a minority.
counterculture, yeah.
Strong
Yeah.
minority and counterculture.
Yeah, and Cheech
know.
growing up in actually East LA in the hood,
Yeah,
like having
yeah.
that, experience.
I'm looking on IMDb and I was like, what the fuck did Chong do? He directed it. He helped direct it.
Oh,
He's
really?
uncredited director on there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, well, I will say this movie might not have had it, but there is definitely an iconic scene in another movie. I can't remember which one because the other ones are. I don't know how many of the other ones you've seen, but they're very bad.
Yeah, I was just about to get to
They're
that.
a real downfall.
This is the only good one.
This is the only good
Yeah.
one, which is
So
the weird
I was
thing.
watching this. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to watch this. I'm gonna try to set aside criticism or cynicism and try to look at it with fresh eyes and like try to watch it as it was meant to be watched back then because I'm sure it's not gonna hold up.
Mhm.
This is the birth of like the stoner movie.
Totally.
You
Yeah,
know?
so many movies after that, like they're any road trip buddy comedy, like that's the basis of so many comedies.
Pineapple
since then.
Express.
Exactly.
Half Baked.
How high, half baked.
Half Baked, I noticed mentions Maui Wowie a couple times, which
Mhm.
is littered throughout Up in Smoke.
Oh, another
as the
phrase.
type of weed.
Another phrase. They're always searching for a lid.
Yeah.
Which I texted my dad to ask him what a lid was because we looked it up online and there was differing opinions on whether a lid was an ounce of weed or if a lid was since no one had scales, they would cut off a coffee can lid and fill that with weed and give it to you. That's the lid.
Oh, a lid's worth of weed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
my
guess
dad
makes
was
sense.
like, well, he was from the Midwest, so he was like, well, we learned that phrase from Cheech and Chong movies, and that was what we called an ounce, was a lid. But we learned it from them, so he doesn't,
Gotcha. Well, what I was going to say, though, is just about how you said the other movies were terrible. Just it having such a cultural impact, I'm surprised. I thought it would have been like a big legacy of like that 5.
I mean, it was so
amazing
big, they
movies.
gave
Sure.
him so many chances after that, and
Yeah.
it kept being
There's
horrible.
one good one.
They probably ran out
Which
of
is
There's one other good one. There's 10. All right.
There's 10 of
There's
them?
10. There's Up in
Wow.
Smoke, Cheech and Chong's next movie, Nice Dream.
Nice Dreams, probably where they start going straight to.
Nice Dreams, I remember
Like-
that was on Comedy Central all the time. It
Yeah,
was
it was really bad.
awful. Things Are Tough All Over, Still Smoking, Yellowbeard, which is a good movie.
I've never even heard of that one.
Yeah, like I'm 1983 Yellowbeard, and then Cheech and Chong's The Corsican Brothers, which
Yeah.
I know is terrible.
Yeah, that's very horrible.
Cheech and Chong, Get Out of My Room.
Get out of my room! That's such a great throwaway
Look at
name.
the distance between.
Yeah, and then that was it until 2010.
Yeah, they reunited.
And there was Cheech and Chong, hey, watch this.
Boy, they really gave up.
Come back into my room and watch this. Sorry for kicking you out 25 years ago.
Yeah, get back in my room.
And then 2013, Cheech and Chong's animated movie.
Yeah. Which I have not gone back and seen the new stuff from them. I
Probably
have no
better
idea.
not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured I didn't want to sully my love for Up in Smoke from that.
How much more can you actually do outside of Up in Smoke? You pretty much have spent all your currency on that.
Totally, yeah. And even all the audio sketch albums they did, it was total references from the 70s.
Mhm.
It was all like the AM radio DJs and like commercials from the time period. Like they're not in modern culture like teenagers are. They
So
don't
they
know
were-
what the counterculture is anymore.
They
Yeah.
are more of like a one-hit wonder kind of.
They were
Kind
a
of
good snapshot of the drug culture at that time.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if people like, I could see people easily just like right now, it's like, oh yeah, Cheech and Chong because they were around, but at the time, I could see it being like, oh, this is just a flash in the pan comedy group, you know?
Well, I mean, obviously they've stood the test of time to some degree,
Mhm.
but they are that iconic drug duo, the comedy duo of marijuana.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to how relevant they are with their humor, 78 is where it was.
Yeah.
What other popular drug comedy acts were there at the time?
There wasn't really.
No.
It was the kind of thing where that culture existed, but they didn't have a comedy group that showcased it in a mainstream society.
I'm just surprised. You think you'd see a lot of knockoffs and things like that after
I'm
the
sure
success
there were,
of
but
Up
they
in
didn't
Smoke.
really.
They didn't, and also at the time, I mean, things didn't move as fast in cultural trends. So like, whereas now if something goes
That's a
up on the
good point.
internet, the next day there's a bunch of parodies of the same thing.
That's a good point.
And
yeah.
also,
But
there's
Up in Smoke is one of those things that was talked about and passed around for a long time before
Oh
they.
yeah, and this was a time when people would go out of their way to hang out, get high, and listen to records.
Yeah.
You know, it was like a party thing to go hang out and listen to Cheech and
That's
Chong.
true.
in the late
Yeah.
70s, there were so few media outlets as well.
Mhm.
I mean, like you had a couple major studios, and were VCRs even like widely available at that
No,
time?
you had to go to the theaters to see
Yeah,
it.
you had to go to the theater,
Yeah.
and it was very hard to like sort of get what you liked represented in the mainstream culture. Because I mean, this would be like if something that you liked that was on the internet that was sort of like fringe got its own major movie and like its own fucking TV
Yeah.
show on NBC.
Yeah,
it's like
if
right
there was
front
like
and
a
center.
major like a blockbuster movie about like vape wave or something, like that's what it's sort of equivalent of. I feel like, but
Man.
also it was, and there's only so many channels. This is a major label production. Like Warner Brothers put the records out. Lou Adler, which is a big rock producer at the time, put money into the movie and was behind them. So this was like
Really?
a comedy duo being like they were like the first rock star comedians basically.
No, not first.
Yeah.
But one of.
I
By
mean,
'78, there had already been.
I mean, even Carlin, I don't think was that big at the time.
Martin.
Steve Martin had already done
was
that.
huge.
Though.
He was doing arenas and
He was
everything.
a-
But I don't know if that was. It was probably about the same time.
Yeah.
Around there.
He was like Andrew Dice Clay big, you know.
Yeah. What's
But this things. I mean, like in that Andrew Dice Clay did arenas, and I'm not comparing the two at all. Do not misquote me on that. Dear God. I probably should have said Robin Williams in retrospect.
Yeah.
But yeah. Man, did I mention how cringeworthy the punk scene is?
I love that
I
song.
love that song. I love
Fuck, guys.
that song is great. It's so funny.
It's fun.
It's got a
funny.
hilarious riff.
I just feel
It's
like
such a it's a song
so
about
embarrassed that
it's
I
a
like.
song about about dress. Like it's funny because it's like a weird. He thinks the most punk thing to do is dress up like a lady.
Yeah.
And tell his basketball coach and his parents to go fuck themselves so he can wear his sister's clothes.
Oh, that's what the lyrics are about?
Yeah.
Mama
That
talking to me,
sounds
trying to
like
tell
when
me how
I
to
make fun
live.
of punk music
Yeah.
or anybody else. Is
Yeah.
like it's always like fuck you, dad.
My basketball coach kicked me off the team for wearing high-heeled sneakers and acting like a queen.
Oh, I missed.
It's really great.
I missed the lyrics.
And then he talks about how he's so rich and he only knows 4 chords, and he owns apartment buildings and shopping centers.
Oh man, he totally
It's great.
owns. Man,
It's a total spot-on parody. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
that's really
Yeah.
okay.
Because they were just being punk, man.
That's
Yeah,
a
just
really
be a
good
punk.
job of making fun of suburban kids who
Yeah.
want to act like they're troubled.
It was great. Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, 78 was probably the height of that. The height of
What's-
like after it like coming over from like Ramones and everything in New York, Sex Pistols, and then everyone just sort of grabbing onto that fashion and all that bullshit. And there's probably a bunch of assholes like, oh, let's lambast these assholes.
So, yeah. So also, okay. So they win. I assume they win.
They won $100.
Well,
Yeah.
no, like record company guy comes up and has them sign a contract.
Yeah, there's no
That
Mr.
scene's
Big.
done.
That
And the
scene's
main
not there.
reason they won, aside from having a great set, is also like the weed smoke rolls in and immediately everyone's eating cheeseburgers.
Just a big plate full of sloppy
They're so
cheeseburgers.
high immediately.
Because they before are booing them because
Yeah.
Chong is falling over
He's
his
falling
drum
over.
kit.
So they win the thing, or at least have a good time.
Yeah.
And then what's the resolution? I can't remember how the movie ends.
The movie ends with them just talking about getting their band going.
Is that the
again.
last scene?
And that's the
before
last scene where he drops
Yeah.
part of the joint in his crotch and he sets himself on fire, and then they just drive away.
And that's just like, oh,
Yeah.
those guys are off to their
Yep.
next adventure kind of thing.
Exactly.
And though the cops, what happens with the cops? They get high, they're outside, they get stoned, they're eating pizza. Oh, one of them has the main guy who's
I am stoned. I am stoned. Yeah.
and he has a
Go with it,
meltdown.
man. Go with it.
He starts eating. Go with it.
Yeah.
Go with it. Starts shoving pizza in his face.
Mhm.
Way too high strung to be high.
Yeah.
Or he's having like a freak out, and that's the last we see of them, right?
Yeah, that's the end of the movie.
The Hare Krishna gets up, walks away, and it's someone else's clothing.
And what has been resolved?
So what did we learn
They-
from this movie?
Yeah, they got cheeseburgers, and that was like the
Yeah.
final thing.
I mean, what you can take from this is just if you do drugs all the time, every day, nothing bad will happen to you. Your band will get $100.
Dude, I'm gonna do drugs and get $100.
Yeah.
Maybe start a band just to be a punk.
I'm trying to think of what's the real resolution.
There-
The conflict
there isn't
was, I
one.
hope they don't get caught,
Yeah.
but they still
Yeah.
could.
They didn't get caught.
I like the idea that the cops are like high forever now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
They'll never catch them.
because you know how cops are. Once they fail, they're done.
Have
Mhm.
you seen the other movies? Are they always being chased by that same cop?
No, not the same cop. They're the other movies are just
One
as
of them, like, it's just an
terribly.
excuse to go to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And they're just, like, hanging out, getting high, and, like, banging people. Like, it's...
Yeah, and then the Corsican brothers, they're like two Zorros.
Yeah, they put him back in... Yeah, it's a weird time travel movie. It makes no sense.
What's the one you said was good? Yellowbeard?
Yellowbeard, that's a pirate movie, and it's not even about them. It's just listed in their canon from IMDb.
What do you
which
mean it's not about them?
It's not like a Cheech and Chong movie. They must both be in it, but it's a pirate movie, and it's like it reminds me of like Monty Python type stuff.
Monty Python.
My Time Python.
Monty Python.
Monty
My time
Python.
time.
Cool. All right, well, we covered the movie.
So, did you like the movie?
I don't know. It's not something I would probably watch again, but I wouldn't turn it off.
Do we? But do we?
Does
do
that
you-
answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, but
It was better than I thought. It was also exactly what I thought.
we touched on like, you know, it was one of the first stoner movies.
Yeah.
It was sort of a snapshot of the late 70s and the drug culture that came from the 60s, and it's still sort of pervasive today in some respects. But
I just wish Tommy Chong would get a fucking job and a haircut.
but do you
Draft
understand?
dodger.
But I mean, do you understand why it became sort of this big movie that, you know, everyone's supposed to see at
I
one point?
definitely understand it better now, its popularity, because I dismissed it as, oh, it's probably just going to be a bunch of dumb drug jokes. And like you pointed out, yeah, there's drug jokes, but it's also kind of like, oh, these are kind of like everymen. And at the time...
Succeeding without even having to try, like, despite their own flaws.
Yeah, and at the time, it was like college-age kids who didn't want to go to war and or didn't want to do what their parents did were like, well, you're fucking up. And so this movie's all about, well, look at what assholes the cops are. And it's like, we're just trying to enjoy our youth. And I would hang out with those guys now, for sure.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I definitely get it.
Yeah, I like him.
I'm excited to hear what Francis has to say about it.
All right, guys. This is Francis with movie review of Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke, starring that fucking dude that played like 4 or 5 characters from Dusk Till Dawn, and then fucking the Asian, the guy that's supposed to be Asian, but he's like white apparently with bell bottoms and shit, and he's all greasy and shit. That's the bus driver from fucking National Lampoon's Senior Trip, Red. All right, here's the movie review. How I feel about the movie is, why is he doing all these goddamn bananas? Was one of my favorite goddamn lines of the whole fucking movie. But other than that, I give this movie 4 stars. The reason why is because I used to buy weed from Aaron Perillo in high school and then fucking go home and watch this movie fucking stoned in my mind. And yes, it's cliche, but it was fucking funny at the time. Anyways, all right, so through the whole fucking movie, these fucking stoner dudes that are just like trying to find some fucking weed and shit. They go to jail and shit, and then, you know, they end up ironically driving a van or it's some sort of van. It's like a Teen Wolf van, but it's like made out of fucking like weed and shit. I don't know in the 80s or 70s how they were able to make a van out of weed, but they made it happen for the movie. Anyways, these fucking guys go on this fucking road trip and they're trying to find all this fucking weed, and they're fucking sitting in weed the entire time, cruising around. And let me see what else happened in that movie. I was stoned a lot when I watched this goddamn thing. Okay, so this is one thing that fucking bothers me. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed this or not, but Cheech Marin has a hair lip. Okay, pretty weird, right? But if you also notice that the bad guy, Officer Danko, also has a hair lip, who is also the bad guy from American History X. Why are there 2 hair lip main characters in this movie? I don't fucking know. Anyways, another thing that bothers me, when they're smoking this giant-ass fucking joint, they're like, oh, it's part Labrador or whatever. If you just have a rolled-up fucking dog shit they're just smoking this, because it's this huge-ass fucking blunt, and it's, like, huge. Like, is it just rolled-up fucking turds? Like, why would you smoke that? Anyways, they end up playing a fucking show at the end of the fucking movie, and actually the show fucking rules. And they got some other weird ass fucking like tranny band being like, so taco or whatever the fuck. And at the end they end up going on to the next movie. So yeah, that's basically it. That's my review. I can't really think of anything else that's really redeeming quality of the movie, but I do like the movie in the stoner effect of that, like, hey, yeah, we all like to smoke weed and watch dumb movies. That's why they fucking made it. Fuck you guys, I'm out.